Stabilizing Nigeria's democracy ahead the 2023 general election is what we're talking about this morning, and I've been speaking with Commissioner for Information in Kogi State, Kingsley Fanwo, who joins us live from our Abuja studio. I'm also being joined in the studio now by Oluwole Apejoye, Political Affairs Analyst. Good morning, and thank you for finding time to come.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
So the thing we hear about pre-election year is such that governors' activities dwindle, in preparation for election. I'm guessing the people will now have to brace up for the implication of having the leaders distracted a bit by politics. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. You find out that in the past, since Monday, most of the APC governors today, they are in their various, they are in Abuja. First, they had this APC governors meeting, and again, I think they are going to have another meeting today, which is a composition of all the governors, if my information is right. So you see, and again, it's a country where everything revolves around the principal. And what are the principals? That is the governors. So if they are not there to take some certain decisions, no matter what, it will affect the governance of the state. That is why I'd said, look, the moment you come in as a governor or as whoever, you must hit the ground running, because the last segment, which is like the 1 year to the election, is always characterized with politics and lobbying. You find out that governance is reduced. Governance is reduced. But then I think in some states, to a large extent, the governors they have capable and they are capable and in their governors. I'll pick a state like Lagos State. You find out that you hardly see Jide, the governor, in any function without having his vice there, without having the deputy governor there. So, and again, all the commissioners in Lagos are very active. They take decisions on their own. So to a large extent, Lagos might not have such. You understand? And again, and if we talk about this, we'll probably give it to the West again. You find out again that work is going on in Ogun State. Either Dakpo is there or it's not there. Even though his deputy governor is not very popular, but you find out that at least to a large extent in the West it has not really affected. But in most other states, you see, if the governor is not there, no decision is taken. So again, when we are approaching election year, governance reduces.
Is there a sense to which people can demand that the elected officers, do their jobs irrespective of politics?
The simple truth is that the moment an election has taken place, the governors that are supposed to be, or public servants that are supposed to be, or elected party officers that are supposed to be servants to the people, now becomes the master. So you can't even, because there are no process for querying, there are no process for recalling. The only thing you have now is maybe at the next election, you probably decide, do I still want to vote for this party or not? But to a large extent, the moment they emerges, they become the masters. So when you look at it, you find out that most especially in the House of Rep, how often do you see them? Even in the Senate, how often do you see them in their constituency? Quickly, when they were going to go on this break, that is the National Assembly, the directive from the Speaker and the Senate President was that go back to your constituency and talk to your people on what are we looking at the electoral bill that is perhaps causing some issues now. None of them. And if they did, at least not to the best knowledge for those that represented Ikorodu, not to my best knowledge for Jimmy Benson, not to my best knowledge that he consulted his constituency to ask for our input. He never did. Also, Abiru, or what is his name? None of them, the senator and the House, none of them, and the rep, none of them did. So you see, the moment they get in there, they become the masters. They don't owe you apology, except if the election is now approaching. Now, maybe in the next 6 months, if they are going to recontest, perhaps if they are going to ask for a second, like if Jimmy is going to go back now, he will be asking for a third term.
Maybe there was a consensus arrangement that you were not aware of.
Where?
in your constituency?
No, there cannot be a constituency, because of course I'm a stakeholder in my constituency. I'm a stakeholder in the constituency, so there is no way you could have involved some people. Even though if I'm not invited or I'm not informed, at least I will hear about it. It never took place. Of course, I knew, what was it called? Jimmy Benson did some projects which he was commissioning or laying, whatever. I know all that. And he visited some projects that he was doing that is ongoing. I know all that. I know he gave out the food bank, whatever, towards December, whatever. He gave some food to some people in his constituency office. I know all that. But as far as the electoral, whatever is concerned, he never did.
Let me bring Mr. Fanwo here. I'd like to hear your contribution to this. The idea that governance activities dwindle in pre-election year. Perhaps the best we'll see, are handouts by politicians. What are your thoughts about this?
To a very large extent, I agree with the analyst, but I also know that his scope was limited by, his familiarity with some states. Let me start from Kogi, for instance, where I'm Commissioner for Information. Despite all this politicking going on, we just delivered a 56-kilometer road from Aingba to Ida. We're also constructing the first flyover in the history of the state, a 4-kilometer embankment, Lokoja Township Road, over 20 kilometers already delivered in the midst of all of this. And we have all these projects in all the sectors of the economy. The same thing is going on in Yobe State, the same thing is going on in Kogi, in Borno, in Kwara, in Imo, everywhere. So, the era of saying that the chief executive must be around before they would be able to do their job is gone, because even from their locations they can still direct things, and you have the deputy governor and other government officials on top of their jobs there. So any governor that the state will wholly they depend on him to be on ground before the job could be done is not an effective governor.
I'll stay with you for a few minutes. Let's get back to some party politics. So your party has till early February to officially notify INEC of its intention for its national convention, given the mandatory 21 days required by law. However, how soon before we begin to know exact stance of the APC on zoning its leadership? By the way, I read on one of the papers this morning that the presidency has been zoned, or rather the party chairmanship position has been zoned to North Central. How does that resonate with you?
Thank you very much. Like I said, we would wait to listen to the leadership of the party. They will come up with the program. I don't want to preempt them. I don't want to say things that they have not said. Let's wait and listen and see what they will come up with. When we have that, then we would be able to deal with that. But I know that the CECPC led by Governor Mimalabuni is very, very conversant with the constitution of the party. If there is a provision in the party for zoning national chairmanship, why not? Or for zoning presidency, why not? Or if the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria supports that, why not? So I know that any decision they will be taking at the end of the day would be in tandem with the constitution of the party and the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I have intrinsic confidence in the CCPC leadership to ensure constitutionalism.
Back in the studio, it would appear that APC and PDP are playing some hide and seek. Let me know, what decision you're making with zoning before.
In the first place, I've said it on this platform, and I've said it at this forum that I, Smart Oluwole, am against zoning. Zoning is undemocratic. You see, we're talking about zoning because of the fact that we have had mirage of ineptitude in our leadership. We have had leaders that are not efficient, that are not effective. As far as I'm concerned, look, I grew up knowing that that Nigeria is my constituency. I grew up knowing that what moves a nation is good leadership. If we have good leadership, what is our business with zoning? For goodness sake, zoning is not democratic. I keep saying it. But again, because the party have to perhaps, and again, let me quickly bring in the issue of even religion. They say you cannot have a Muslim ticket, you cannot have a Christian ticket. What has Christianity, what has being Muslim got to do with my competency? If I'm competent, I could be a Muslim. Nigerians overwhelmingly voted for Abiola and Babangida Kingibe, knowing fully well that both of them are Muslims.
there is what you consider to be.
We did not see.
There's what you consider to be a fantastic ideology. On the other side, there is what is realistically possible given the times that we live in Nigeria.
No.
And given the antecedents that we've had, you know, there is some years ago, Nigerians had issues with the perception that appointments were tilting to a particular side of the country. These are real issues that were raised.
That is where I talk about ineptitude. You see, as far as I'm concerned, it is because when somebody like somebody went before the National Assembly. I don't want to mention our establishment. She is the DG of that establishment. They ask her, what is the cost of a ton of maize? She does not know. And she's the DG of that establishment. I don't know what you expect such a distance. How you expect such a person to perform? Yeah. How you expect that there will not be complaint about bringing that person from that particular part of the country? You see, we are complaining today, including me, of that sort of person coming, not because of the fact that that person is an Hausa person or is a Fulani person or is a Yoruba person, but if that person is not performing, that is where you begin to attach religion, you begin to attach tribe. It is because of the fact that we've not had effective leadership at manning various agencies. If we have them, for goodness sake, Mr. President, we can always go to anywhere. If we have a capable hand handling roads, handling the works, handling housing, and effective security officers like in the IG, Chief of Army Staff, and all whatnot, if they all work in hand, what is the business of Mr. President? They only brief Mr. President just on a daily, normally hourly or daily security brief that they pass to him. Again, if we talk about today, what has made this country to be what it is today is insecurity. It is insecurity that has made the cost of food to skyrocket so high. It is insecurity that has made our inflation rate to be 15 point whatever that it is now. Let me tell you, as far as I'm concerned, if we effectively equip the police, if we have an effective policing system, for goodness sake, insecurity will be a thing of the past. There is no nation in the whole world. There is no nation in the whole world that is crime free. But again, it will be very, very minimal. Not extremely where every day you wake up today in this country, if it's not in the Imo, it is in the Ogun State. If it's not in Ogun State, it's in Ondo State. If it's not in Ogun State, it is in Taraba. It is all over the country. No state is spared. It is because of the fact that we have a problem with our leadership system. That is why we complain about, whoever is coming out must be a Yoruba man. Whoever is coming out must be an Igbo man. If we have a country where our president sees that, look, his constituency is Nigeria, and they are working, nobody will look at Igbo. Quickly.
Yes.
They are working on the third mainland, on the second Niger bridge. If I can drive from Lagos to Onitsha, passing through Asaba, Bini, Agbo to Asaba to Asaba to Onitsha, smooth within 3 hours or 4 hours if I'm there, and somebody is there. What will be my business with the person in leadership? We've never been concerned about the person in leadership. What we have is only because somebody has not performed, we now feel that, okay, let somebody come from our side, either we perform. Go and look at the history of everybody that have ruled Nigeria and see how well they have bettered their states where they emerge from. A good example is how well did Babangida better Niger State? How well did is Buhari bettering the Katsina State, where he's from? Katsina State is one of the states today with high rates of banditries and insecurity, and yet Mr. President is from there.
What do you think, Mr. Fanwo? Will it matter in 2023 where your party's candidate is coming from? He also mentioned a Muslim ticket. Do you think that 2023 can feature, or perhaps let's say that our democracy or the people participation is so aware that we can allow again what transpired in 1993?
Thank you very much. I think Mr. Smart has smartly diagnosed this issue. Apart from being mentally alert, physically vigorous, and intellectually dynamic, there are 3 issues that will determine the 2023 elections. Number 1 is the factor of unity. We must see ourselves as one nation, one Nigeria. Nigeria, before you talk about the fact that you are Igbo, you are Hausa, you are Yoruba, you know, we must be able to unite this nation. Secondly, we will need someone who can ensure security. You could see the level of insecurity in the country today, despite all the efforts of Mr. President. So we would need someone who can guarantee the security of our people. And thirdly, we must have someone who have the capacity for enthroning economic prosperity and expansion in Nigeria. These three factors will determine the next president of the country. So the issue of zoning or no zoning is not an issue. But you know, as we have emotional intelligence, we also have what we call political intelligence. You know, you must also play to the game of politics. There are dynamics that guide that game. You cannot, for instance, when you are having a Christian ticket or a Muslim ticket like we had in 1993, and you think you can get away with that in the present day Nigeria, it's not going to fly, because whether we admit it or not, these are issues in our polity. These are issues in the heads of our people. These are issues in the minds of our people. So any smart political party will not want to play with that part of political intelligence.
Another issue on the mind of the people, Mr. Fanwo, is the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. The National Assembly has reconvened now, and the big question is, what are they going to do about it? The body language from the House of Reps yesterday would, you know, perhaps just say, let us expunge this controversial direct primary clause and retransmit it to Mr. President. What do you consider the way forward now?
Yeah, I think, you know, the president has done a very brilliant and intellectual job. I am not surprised when you have an Attorney General like Malami, you are bound to get these things right, because he's a top-notch legal luminary. So it's not a surprise that Mr. President got it perfectly right. You know, the issue of direct primary, the president as a person is not against direct primary, and we need to get this very clearly. We are not against direct primary. It's one of the options in the constitution of the APC as a party. So what we are saying is that you cannot be talking of democracy when you are limiting the people to just one option. So it's not democratic. Let us have options. Party A might be comfortable with option A. Party B might be comfortable with option C. Party C might be comfortable with option B. Let's have options. That's what democracy
Let me put it very quickly, Mr. Fanwo. Who decides?
And when you look at what is happening there,
who decides this option within the party? You have lined up like 3 options, you know, direct, indirect, and then consensus. But how do party members decide which of the option is suitable, you know, for them?
Let me give you an example here. Ahead of the 2019 general election in Kogi State, the state executive committee of our party convened a meeting of party members. It was a congress, and there they asked the party members which option they would want to use. So the option that was even used in Kogi State running into the 2019 general election was not decided by the governor or any powerful element in the party, but by the members of the party. And that's the difference between APC and other parties. The members have the power. The power in the party resides in the members. So that's why you could see that members decide the kind of option they will use in every dispensation. So ahead of 2023, we still have to have that option where the members will convene and then say, okay, we want to look at the options. This is the option we want to use. The option used in Kogi might not be the option that Lagos will use, or the option in Lagos might not be the option Imo will use. So let the people have the opportunity to choose between options.
All right, so I'm just wondering if you agree with him that party members really can decide what options to use. In Ekiti, a few days ago, we saw some, you know, governorship aspirants in the PDP led quite a number of party members to protest what they what they allege was the act of a former governor who just wrote out the names of the delegates and sent it to the national headquarters.
Well, in the first place, I keep saying that, I've once said that the moment our party leaders emerge, they become the masters. The simple truth is that as far as Lagos State is concerned, party members does not have a say. They only pass message to them that, okay, this is what they have decided, that we are going to have this form of election. They have not given them, please come up with various options. Let us collate it, look at the popular the popular option and perhaps implement that. It has always been the party hierarchy in the state that determines, even to the local government. We saw what happened at the last local government election. Different thing, the different ball game. The party members want some person different. The party said, okay, if you are a first timer, you automatically you go for the second time. If you know that you are going to go for the second time, why then in the first place allow them to go for an election? You should have said that in the first place. However, let me come to this. In the first place, my contribution again is that the clause that Mr. President declined assent to, why he declined assent, I am in support of Mr. President. You see, if we're talking about democracy, democracy must give you an option. You don't box me to a corner and say, okay, because you have constitutionally boxed me to a corner and you see that is democracy. No. Various political parties have their various mode to elect and bring out their candidates. Let the party goes with their options. Do not limit them to an option. That is why I'm in support of Mr. President. Having said that now, is that again at the party hierarchy there will be crisis. The reason why there will be crisis is that it is the party at the top that dictates to them. It is wrong. People should have options. Look, National State Assembly, Ikorodu local government, how do you want your candidate to emerge? Alimosho, Badagry, whatever, how do you want your candidate to emerge? We must all agree on the options. Now the party will now look at it that, okay, we cannot have these three options. The state must come up with an option. Since almost about 6 of the 10 or 20 local governments constitutionally this is what they want. Since 15 of you, 14 of you, this is what you want, I think we'll go with 14 of you, even though that is not our stand. You see, that does not exist. And again, look, most of the party members, do they really have that well without to dictate to the people to their party executive? They don't. They don't. Because most of the time, it is what the party says. You just candidate. By the time they give them biscuit, give them one packet of whatever, they will agree to what the party is saying. So that is again another problem on its own. But having said this, is that the party, they are going to have a lot of crisis. And again, that is why I am in support of APC governors when they say, look, we must have our structure on ground. If we have our structure on ground, then now because again there will be crisis. Now let us start managing the crisis before we get into the real. What they are doing now is to put their house in order. Let us just see how we can put our house in order in a good time, and then we now face the major challenges that we have campaigning for our party at various levels.
Let's take Judge call from Ikeja. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Nifemi, and good morning to all your guests. Nifemi, I'm happy that your guest, the one in Abuja studio, admitted to some facts about the activities of his party. He admitted that rather than projecting the achievements his party have made over, they've been silent to allow opposition to distort information while they are busy ganging up against the emergence of a particular candidate. That's what I sit down here to see them doing. We are ganging up that one particular candidate must not emerge. Some people, that if you do that and the most popular and credible person is sidelined, you are risking the possibility of losing that election. Be that as it may, I will never agree with those who are promoting the concept that direct primary should not be the only option. The gentleman in the party man there said that it is members of his party in Kogi State that decided which option to use. What is the difference between the members of his party deciding and direct primary? Is it not the same members of the party that will do the decision? What he meant by members of his party is a selected few. This is what direct primary will eliminate. That selected few have not been fair to the system. It doesn't allow credible people with the right calling to come up. That is why generational change will never come. So if direct primary is allowed to take root, when a party comes and says this is our delegate, our nominee, it shows that majority of those party members agreed that this is the person. If you employ any other option like consensus or indirect, you edge out those who do not have money. That is the simple fact of the matter. All other things that they are attributing to it is a device by the rich and opulent ones to edge out the less privileged ones. That's the way I see it. Thank you.
Thank you, George, for your contribution from Ikeja. We're coasting home now, gentlemen. Let's start rounding things up here. But let me begin from Abuja. We may be talking about the chances of your party after the convention and after we've seen the primary, the primary election and all of the politicking that is required before the election. But what do you consider to be some of the yardsticks that the APC must consider? You mentioned the third first earlier and the fact that there might be people, just waiting for the right opportunity to pull away and create another one. How do you think the party which you considered or which you quoted to have said the biggest party on the continent, how can it, work its way around this without losing just so many?
Thank you very much. I'll weigh in a bit about the submission of Mr. Smart. I just told you that in Kogi, our members decided the mode of primary to be used. I also have confidence in the leadership of our party in Lagos State. They don't just hand out information to members. Our party is like a social democratic party. The power is in the people. And we build it on the fulcrum of the fact that the power of the people is greater than the people in power. So it is the people that decide what happens in the party. And also what we need to, like the caller, I think we need to educate Nigerians about how these things work. Like the delegates that come to vote already have the power of the people delegated to them because they are elected by the people from the grassroots, from the ward to the local government to the state. The people have passed this power to them to exercise on their behalf. So they should understand this. So they are still exercising the power of the people. Now coming to the chances of the party ahead of 2023, we are repositioning. Yeah. Just like we know that there are a lot of members and leaders that are only with us in body but not in spirit. We're also aware that there are a lot of permutations and schemings that are going on for them to try to discredit the party as much as possible and then pull out of the party. We're also aware of their plan to lock the APC, lock the PDP, and then go to their third force. But we are prepared for all of this because it is the party to beat. We have membership growing every day. We have we have people with pedigree joining the party every day. We have defectors that are of high-class governors and all of that. We have all members joining from the wards and the local government on daily basis. So we are not afraid going into the 2023 election, and we know that our scorecard is enough to win us that election. I can even assure you that areas where the party did not do so well in 2015 and 2019, like the South and Southeast, we are going to have a clean sweep in 2023 because they have now realized that where the president comes from does not really matter, but what the president can do for you. Look at what President Muhammadu Buhari has done for the people of the Southeast, for the people of the South-South. These are going to be the yardstick that will determine.
Let me butt in very quickly because of time, Mr. Fanwo. Uche has called in from Anambra. Good morning, Uche.
Good morning.
Uche, you have just 1 minute. Yeah, please go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody there. Yeah, we are talking about democracy. When you are saying you are giving option in the party, and you are at the same time you are saying it's democracy, I don't understand what you mean by or giving option and you are calling it democracy. Okay, can't we give this option in a general election? If we're actually talking about democracy, can't we give that option in general election? So when you are talking of democracy, you are talking about everybody being included in the system. And that is what direct primary is talking about. Every member of the party being included in the election, not some few cabals, not some few people determining the emergence of the few. So the point I'm making here is direct option or direct primary is the right option. That is democracy.
All right. I think you made your point very clear, Uche. Thank you very much for your contribution. You know, what Mr. Fanwo said earlier is quite tricky when you say that delegates from the party who are participating in the convention are elected from different congresses. You want to put that side by side with some of the rancor, the factionalization, you know, that has been reported across the country. There are people who would say that, well, those people, they are not representing us. So how do you react to that?
First, I will quickly take the Commissioner for Information, my friend in Abuja. I will take him up. I think he's trying to do a public relation and a laundry image for his party. Of course, he's at liberty to do that. But let me say this. At the end of the election, this time, some people, APC will lose some and win some. Just the same thing as PDP will lose some and win some. Again, I can tell you that most of the people that emerge, they are not the credit people. They are not the kind of persons that will go there and stand on their words. They are the kind of people, you see, when you go to, you find out that they say some people are giving dollars, some are giving naira, and probably the person that gives the dollar probably have the upper hand. Most party delegates that emerges at the end of the day, they are not the credible people. Yeah. That is why sometime again, if you want to look at it, you look at the option A for that. Look, let all party members come, line up this way, and let's say whoever you vote for, whoever you do this for, whoever you do that for. I think that would have been better. But however, if you're thinking because of the system that it will produce credible persons, no way.
We have to.
And again, if we are celebrating that some defectors, high caliber, if anybody, you see, today why Asiwaju is relevant is because he has held on to that one party with which it belongs to from day one. And he helped when it was only Lagos State, he held on to the party. When they became 5, when they became 6, he held on to the party. And until again, he was able to bring a 6th party again to form alliance with CPC and other parties. And that is why today he's on a winning track.
That's how much time we have.
But if you are looking at it and say, look, some people are defecting. Defectors are not party members.
That's how much time we have. Political affairs analyst, Smart Oluwole Apejoye. Thank you for talking to us. Kingsley Fanwo, Commissioner for Information, Kogi State. This conversation just began. We'll continue. About the chance of your party, we'll also have that conversation much after your national convention. Thank you so much for joining us on this one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
That's our show today. Thanks for being a part of it. Nifa, good day. Well, by the way, we're counting down to Uncle Yuri's return. You should watch out for it. See you again tomorrow.